Vinny Melkus Outdoors. We're here talking trolling motors, which I've done a number in the past videos when it comes to like Lowrance's version. But now we have all of the major brands, or we have PowerPole is the newest player in the trolling motor market with their Move. Then of course you got Motor Guide, Minn Kota, Lowrance, and Garmin. Specifically, we're going to talk about that new Quest, and that's the reason I'm even doing this video is because Minn Kota finally went to the brushless Ultrex, or they probably put brushless on some of the other motors as well, but Ultrex specifically for us, and that's the most popular motor, especially in the bass fishing world. Now, going through Garmin, their force trolling motor, it seems to be pretty awesome, and the one thing about it that I've heard time and time again is in rough water, that thing pops out of the water, it resets a lot of times, and it can really screw you up. But you're looking at something that this thing is running $3,500 to $3,600. Let's put it in that price range. Still pretty good trolling motor, brushless. You can see your battery instantaneously. You have the wireless trolling motor pedal, which seems pretty good. You can hardwire it too. I know I'm talking fast because I'm just going overview of some of these trolling motors. So there's a downside of that is when in rough water, that motor has been known to reset. And I don't know if they've actually fixed that with any updates or any of a new model. But keep that in mind, because one of the reasons why I'm telling you this has to do with going into we're going to get into the Quest real quick. But anyway, you got your Lowrance Ghost, which I have that right now. And I've beaten the hell out of it, and I've done reviews on it, and I've told you what was bad. The first thing I got, when I first got that trolling motor, 2020, they put the magnets in wrong, and it screwed the whole thing up, and during COVID, had to send it into the engineer, and they fixed it, got it back, worked pretty good, went just on nothing harsh in the beginning, ended up breaking one of the rods on it, ended up breaking a little little mechanisms inside there on a day in Lake Havasu. It was pretty rough, but the point being is that supposedly this motor was bulletproof and was tested to be in these really intense situations that we might encounter on some of these larger bodies of water, which I proved that wrong. And I'm hard on the equipment, but I'm very diligent on doing the right thing and how to store it and how to operate it. So that's why a lot of my stuff works, and I work on my own things a lot of times. And I still have, like, you look at my fishing rod selection, I got rods that are 20 years old. I got reels that are still operating. I got a motor that I've, essentially now 10 years old. I've had to only change the lower unit out. That's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I take care of my stuff, but I also test it. I want it to be able to work. So it's not me doing anything outlandish to the Lowrance Ghost. It's just maybe that first iteration of them or whatnot was just not that great in the grand scheme of things. And I guess I go back to how I'm rating this is all off my old Fortrex. But anyway, which is a beast. I've lost pieces off that thing eventually just from rattling off and like doing like these huge runs and big bodies of water, and things just kind of rattle loose, and things still operated perfectly. Never deployed through a strap on the way, hitting waves or whatnot on the way back to weigh-in, So it's usually my basis. I'm basing it off Minn Kota stuff. So anyway, we go to Motor Guide. They have theirs, which I haven't really messed with the Motor Guide, so I don't really have much to say on it. I've only seen it, and the head is just astronomical. It looks like about the size of like a small soccer ball, it seems like. But that one has, I think, more of the push-pull mechanism as opposed to the electronics. So I have nothing to say bad about them. I was going to go to the Lowrance price tag. It's still $3,500 to $3,700, so we're right around that range. When you go to the Motor Guide, you actually can get into a Motor Guide, which has the spot lock and all that jazz for $2,600 to $2,700. So that's not bad. Like I said, I don't really have an opinion on them because I don't really know. I haven't really operated that one. I don't really know. And that's the same. We go to the PowerPole Move or whatever they want to call it. Move, blah. I haven't operated. I know guys that have just gotten it. And they say it's phenomenal. And maybe it is. I reserve judgment. I'd like to take it on some big water. I'd like to see it hold. I'd like to see it do certain things. like to see how the mounting mechanism is there and how it deploys. But anyway, it probably is good. It's $5,000, so I hope it's good. I mean, for $5,000, you can get one of these other trolling motors and then get all lithium batteries if you wanted to. But anyway, they're in the market. It's supposedly a super awesome trolling motor. It looks kind of weird with a small head. But anyway, so let's go over to Minn Kota, because the reason I leave them for last, one, because the Quest just came out, but two, because when this whole thing first started, when the Spotlock, when the brushless system came out, when Lowrance entered the market and Garmin entered the market, people went to those brands because, not necessarily out of hatred of Minn Kota, but the technology that was implemented there, they wanted to try it out, and they now have graphs that they use that might be, you know, from other technologies, and they just want to keep it kind of with one brand, or they really like the brushless system. You know, it's basically technology driven. They went over and tried these other brands, and so these brands, Lowrance and Garmin, gained some market share on the trolling motor side, definitely of this. And people, I've talked to a number of them, were waiting for Minn Kota to come out with a brushless system. And I have talked about the pros of the brushless system, being able to go, especially going from 36 to 24 volt, as my last actual fishing video showed, is that I had a battery go out. I was able just to switch it to 24 volt and kind of save the day, and operated just fine. So the Ultrex finally is in that system. So what do I think? I think people are going to go back to that. I know I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, I had such good experience with Minn Kota trolling motors. I've beaten the snot out of them, every one of them that I've ever owned, and they just don't quit. And the only trolling motor I ever had fail on me, because I've only run two. I've run a Motor Guide and I've ran Minn Kota, because these other ones didn't exist, was my Minn Kota had plastic ears in the head on one of my boats, and that went out. But all my Minn Kotas worked flawlessly, especially my Fortrex. And everybody that I've talked to with the Ultrex, the thing's as solid as you can get. And now you have the brushless motor, so you have that efficiency that's driven with that. You have the ability to change the voltages, and then, like I said, there are locking mechanisms. There, there's a lot of things that Minn Kota usually gets right with trolling motors. So I have a feeling that people are going to go back there. And you look at the price tag of this thing, you're looking at, roughly $3-something grand, $3,700. So you're not out of the ballpark like the Move, in my opinion. That's really high end. You're right in the realm of these other brushless motors, but you still have that customer base there that may have gone to like a Lowrance Ghost, and now they're like, well, or the Force. They went to the Garmin Force and they're losing their spots. Their trolling motors resetting out on the Great Lakes or Lake Mead or something like that, and they want to go back to the Ultrex. In that one time where my Lowrance went haywire because they put the magnets in wrong, that was devastating for the day. I couldn't do anything like with the trolling motor hardly. It was totally screwed up. Like I said, so like myself and a number of other people, probably going to go to this Quest and really, and it might even drive me to, by getting this Quest, it might drive me to trying some other electronics, going back to Humminbird and some of these other electronic ventures. And reason being is because more so today than in the past, everything's kind of being built around one brand, and you have access to these varying technologies within a brand sector. So if you got a Garmin, you can run your live scope and side mega hertz side imaging, down imaging, and all that jazz, and good mapping. You got Lowrance, you got the very same thing. Everything's set up where you can link all that stuff up together. And then you got Humminbird, has the same thing now with Minn Kota and all this jazz. Now, to varying degrees, the technology is a little bit better in certain brands. I mean, talk about that some other time, but you can essentially, when you pick one of these trolling motors, you kind of can go and retrofit the whole boat with that. Now, you can't do that with the power pole. I guess you can do that because I think they link up with Lowrance and stuff, but so you'd still be running Lowrance. So Lowrance has kind of a I guess advantage in that regard, having their relationship with power pole. But Look out for the Quest. I think that's going to be a big. Not, I want to say it's not a game changer. What it is it's a playing field changer in a sense. It's a market shifter. People are going to start going back to Minn Kota, and I think I am as well here eventually because of the way that Ultrex is setting up. I get all the advantages I get with the Ghost, but then I have the reliability, I believe still. I know they said they redesigned it, but everything I've seen come out of Minn Kota has been pretty solid. So I'm anticipating all the benefits of having a Ghost, but then also all the benefits of having a really rock solid trolling motor that will take the beating that it's going to get with me, like fishing on big water. So anyway, like, subscribe, talk to you later, peace.